What's up, party people? Welcome back to the podcast, back to Tomboy Official, day 25. Is it 25? Jeez. Alright. This book is almost done. I'm debating if I'm really gonna pick another one. I got a library card. I've had a library card, so I could get a book from a library. I don't know if I want to do that. And I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know if I like posting these book things. I kind of do, but it's kind of like, this one isn't very topic oriented. But I'm almost done with it, so I'm not like, yeah, it's my choice to just make it some other thing. Like, it wasn't written that way, but basically, like, it wasn't written to read it in like 2 and some pages every day for like 30 days. Like, it wasn't written that way. But yeah, with Aina Brion's book, Aina's Keys, for day 25, gonna talk a little bit about people dragging us down, not letting it happen. Sometimes I know in life, we kind of make choices to allow certain things or let certain things happen, let certain things occur, just for a time, because it's like, well, I'm getting something out of it. Like, I've used, as an example, multiple overly used example of housemates and all that kind of stuff. But to me, that's one of the better examples, of just, having housemates, having roommates, that for me dragged me down. I wasn't sleeping properly. I was irritable. I wasn't happy. I felt like I was kind of like walking on eggshells and kind of like having to, like, I was smoking a lot of pot, guys. Like, I was like a freaking chimney. Like, it kept me chill. Like, I didn't really put 2 and 2 together, but, I've never smoked that much weed in my life. And I'm just like, I never really put 2 and 2 together, but I was like, dude, literally right after I would log off work, I would go out in my car and just hit it, or like go over and I'd be recording this podcast or other podcast episodes, and I'd just be like toking and edibles, and like I'm a creative mind, I'm a creative person, so it's not like I don't want to do, to have that in my system, or that I don't like it, or that I feel like it really gets in my way too much. I'd say as far as the munchies and overeating, that's where it gets in my way the most. And then I definitely started having some issues with some other kinds of situations, and I think it was mostly due to the stress levels in the house. It was kind of a traumatic situation, in all honesty, but nobody was doing anything to me, though. It was just like, in the background. And, like, it's kind of like I'm familiar with environments where it's like an uncomfortable household. So for me, I was like, I don't know these people. They're not my family members. I can leave anytime, And then it also comes to family members too, though, because it's like, a lot of people I know out in LA especially are kind of like back and forth between their parents' houses. I know a lot of people out here, and a lot of them have moved back with parents, at least for a temporary time. And it's mostly because nobody wants to live with freaking roommates. It's like, well, I'd rather freaking live with my parents, than roommates sometimes. Like, for me, it's like I don't really feel like I get that much privacy. Like, it's not bad. Like, I don't have, my folks aren't like knocking on my door. Like, today my mom kind of like kind of like tried to get my attention, like kind of like called my name from the hallway because my dad went to church and he was picking up Subway on the way home, and she was like trying to get my attention, like, oh, are you in your room, kind of thing. But she wasn't knocking. She was like, you know, kind of like trying to get my attention. And she's like, oh, like, I guess she didn't hear me say kind of like what, you know. Like, I didn't come to the door. Like, I was doing something else. I was like, I don't really want to talk to my parents right now. But, like, basically, you know, when it was food, I was like, damn, it's like already going to be like 2 o'clock and I hadn't really eaten. So I was like, fine. But they don't really tend to be knocking on my door too much. Like, they're kind of good with like texting me if it's like, oh, dinner's at this time, or like if they see me, like, oh, like, are you available for dinner, kind of thing. Like other than like talking to me about like when we're gonna eat, like that's pretty much the majority of like what the conversation is. Or like if somebody's ordering, if somebody's ordering food like Grubhub or something, like what do I want in my order. Or like you know, on occasion it's like, I think there was a day when I rented a car and I parked it, like our driveway, we have like a driveway on one side that's like one car fits, and then we have a driveway where it's like two cars can fit, and then, well, technically three, because there's a slope. And so like when I get a rental car, instead of parking it on the street, because I usually get it the day I'm gonna drive it, so I don't have to pay like an extra overnight or whatever. And so I get it like the morning before I have to drive somewhere, and so I've been parking it in the driveway, kind of backing it in so I can put my stuff in the trunk, and then just like keeping it in the driveway. I just feel like it's a little safer. It's like nobody's scratching it. It's in the driveway. Like we've still had, like, I've had my tire stabbed, and we've had our back windshield of our minivan way back damaged, and those were both in our driveway. So it's like, if people want to get in the driveway and like damage something, they will. But it's kind of like, I feel like at least it's like that's about as safe as I can get it. Like our garage isn't really in a state where you can actually like fit cars because there's so much junk. It's like a big storage bin. A little bit of it's mine, most of it's not. So I don't even really mess with it. But yeah, sometimes people drag us down. And I was starting to notice this, you know, I have a previous housemate who is a friend, and, you know, we mostly bond over music. With a lot of people, I bond over music, art, types of things like creativity, just all that kind of stuff. I usually, you know, bond about that kind of stuff. But like, if nothing else, I probably, you know, can find some musical interest or creative interest with somebody to kind of like, we vibe on this thing that's kind of like important, you know. It's like important. It's not like oh, this, like, to me, I don't feel like art, music, I don't feel like that kind of stuff is superficial. But you know, to me it's kind of like, it's a form of like expression and creativity and stuff. And like, I'm like, at the very least, you know, I bond with people on that kind of thing. And so, you know, we kind of bond over that. I try to just keep the conversations about music and like that kind of stuff. I kind of like, we can't talk about sports. I try to talk about like relationships, and I don't think he really kind of dates or anything. Like, I don't know if he does. I've never talked to him much about it. Like, I tried, and then he goes into these whole like rants about like some other things. So I'm like, I don't really know, dude. But yeah, I'm kind of like he moved in with somebody who was even worse than the people that he moved out from. So he's had no peace, and then now just got, I think when I met him, he had one job. He got another job and then just started working a different job. Not 3 jobs, like working 3 jobs at a time, but this is his 3rd job since I've known him. I've known him like, I don't know, like so many years by now. But I'm just saying, like, you know, most of the time when I hear from him, it's like he's upset uh, uh, because of the people kind of around him. And for me, I'm just like, bro, like, just get the fuck out of it, you know? And I kind of see a lot of himself in me because it's like, you know, sometimes when you were like raised in an environment where I'm not trying to shit on my family, but I'm just saying like sometimes when you were just raised around people that didn't have their stuff fully taken care of, you know, and then they put it onto you, you kind of get used to living with people who don't have their stuff fully taken care of and put it onto you, or working for people that don't really have their stuff fully taken care of and put it onto you. It becomes like a thing. But there's always a way out of it. But there is also some kind of comfort in that. I don't know what it is, but I've noticed, even for myself, when I think about it, I'm like, the amount it took me to like leave from those situations was just like it was hard. Like it wasn't easy for me to just be like, fuck this, I'm out, you know, like it was hard. Like I was holding on to a lot. Like I was like, dude, but I love this area and I like the house itself and I like mostly the area, you know. I mostly really like the area. I like that I did have some friends right in the area too, within a few blocks away. Some close friends of mine, and that was nice living near friends. And you know, they used to hike over near my place and they'd be like, oh, like I was hiking near your house, you know, and like, but they gave me space on it. They weren't like coming over all the time and stuff, but like, yeah, like I was just like, damn, you know. But yeah, I felt kind of like a little like I don't really want to talk about that house too much. I mean, I always say that, but it's like it's a very significant point in my life because I did it to myself. It's not like anybody forced me to move in there, but I definitely notice that I've had maybe not the best track record of like choices of people to live with. Part of it's like, okay, I'd rather live for cheap regardless. Another part of it is because I have a very high tolerance for bullshit, in all honesty. And, you know, I'll I'll take on the bullshit, you know, household if I'm getting something out of it on the other end. So I'm kind of like, you know, it's really hard for me to be like, this is a deal breaker, because I'm like, well, the time I get into what's actually a deal breaker for me, it's like, you know, like those things are like far down the list. Like people don't have to be anywhere near perfect for me to move in somewhere. Like I'm just like whatever. Like if I get what I want out of it, other than peaceful roommates, you know, if I get what I want out of it and people are leaving me alone, usually I'm like, I'm only here temporarily anyways, I can leave anytime I want. And that's kind of the attitude I've always had. But I'm like, you know, I know that drags me down. It hasn't led me to good places. I'll get more into this in another episode, but I was kind of thinking kind of along the lines of some relationships I've had and stuff, and just kind of like, you know, I'm about to start this transition back to San Diego. I'm applying for jobs starting this weekend. I'm not going to talk too much in detail about where I'm applying or whatever. It doesn't really matter. As long as the money looks good, I'm fine with it. At this point, I do not give a fuck. But I mean, I'll figure out the rest along the way. But I kind of was like, you know, let me make this decision. And I'll get into that in the next episode. But just to round this one out, you know, yeah, I've been talking for like years now about these stupid people that I've known in my life, and I'm like, you know, that was on me. That was on me. I will take ownership for that, for the choices I made to stay in those situations. But I lately have honestly been feeling like strangely good. I don't know. Like even with the cold, you know, I've noticed, you know, I'm still a little irritable, but I'm not like, I think I mentioned on here before that like sometimes I'm like, you know, when I'm walking around the house, I am like so tense. I'm just like, what is wrong with me? You know, like I'm not used to having like that level of like tension towards people who didn't even do anything to me. Like I'm just kind of like I literally was like just chilling in my room. I was like, I don't even want to come out of my room when there's somebody else in another space in the house, because if they talk to me or see me, like the way our house is laid out is like the bedrooms are around the outside. So me, my brother, and my sister's bedrooms are all on the left side when you walk in the house, and then my parents' room is all the way to the back of the house. Like you have to walk through the family room and the living room to get to their bedroom. Like there's like almost like little office kind of area too. We have like two desks, and it's like once you pass those desks, then it's their bedroom. So it's like the distance from my room and their room is really, if it's far. Like we don't share a wall or anything. And so it's a pretty far distance, but that means that the whole middle part of the house, like the dining room, the dining room's connected to the kitchen. The kitchen kind of, it has a sliding door to close it off, but when you walk in, it's like you can either go right to the kitchen or left to the bedrooms, or straight into the family room that's like right there when you open the door. And then to the right of the family room, there's a dining area that's like open. You can see it from the front door. Also from the front door, you can see the living room, and then you can see the desks, and you can see the door for my parents' bedroom. Like it's like an open floor plan. Like it's basically 3 rooms without like big walls and doors. Like there's a little kind of nook area. It's like a half, like it's like there's like a little ledge. Jesus. It's like a little ledge. But sorry. I just noticed that somebody went into the other bedroom. There's a bedroom facing the front of the house, and I'm out in the front of the house trying to record, and somebody just went into the bedroom. I don't know, man. So yeah. Like, so basically, if we're not in our bedrooms, like right when you step out of your bedroom, you're kind of like in a public space, unless you're like going into a bathroom or something. And so, you know, it's very hard to know, like, is somebody, are my folks in their bedrooms? Are they in in the living room? Are they at a desk? Are they in the dining room? Like, where are they? So yeah, it can be a little bit difficult to know. But it's just stuff like this, for me, it's not even a big deal, but it's like, I kind of like my space. Like, I really like to have a lot of space. And to me, it's like, it's at a point where it's like, I don't even like recording too much. I didn't record this morning because I didn't feel up to it. Just because of the timing, like, like my mom's like out of her room now because my dad's in there early in the morning, so she's not like staying in her bedroom doing her morning routine. She's like hanging out in the living room doing it instead. And so I'm like, I used to have pretty much all morning free, to myself until like 9 or 10 o'clock. And now it's like she's up early. We've had to share kitchen space over cooking breakfast sometimes. Like, I don't cook the same stuff that they cook. They're into like the whole like spam and bacon and sausage and eggs, and I love that kind of stuff. It's good, but I'm like, dude, I can't be eating that every day anymore. And I'm noticing results because I've stopped eating eggs every freaking morning. I was eating eggs every morning for breakfast, and I kind of switched it over to either a Perfect Bar or not really a Perfect Bar. I'd say if I'm lazy, I'll have a Perfect Bar and some fruit and coffee. If I'm not, well, still, if I'm lazy, I'll have oats. Just like plain oats. I don't put sugar. If anything, I'll put like oat milk or almond milk or something, soy milk, something along those lines, like a little bit, just for flavor, and just like cinnamon and berries. And I've gotten used, I think I mentioned this, I've gotten used to eating oats and rice, not together, but oats and rice. I've gotten used to eating them plain. It took me a bit, but it's like, if, I don't know, I can't like tell people to do it, but it's like, to me, it's like, well, I'm not adding fat, I'm not adding anything to it. It's just like carbs, you know? So it's roughage. So it's fiber. But I feel like my body kind of responds a little better with that. Like, it's not, um, you know, I don't eat a lot of it either, but it doesn't take a whole lot. Like, it doesn't take a whole lot, and it's pretty filling. It's pretty satisfying. Um, you could make it more savory or make it more sweet, but for me, it's like, I like it a little like tart, like cinnamony and a little tart, because I eat berries with it. If I want it sweeter, I'll usually add like bananas. Bananas make it sweet, but otherwise, just different types of fruits on the side. And that'll usually hold me to lunch, honestly, or maybe a little snack. But yeah, this morning I just wasn't feeling like recording because I wasn't alone. Really, like, I can't tell if people can hear me. Like, when I take my phone calls too, I take them out in the car. It's just, I feel like there's a little more privacy to it. I don't really know, but I just feel like there is. But it's kind of just, you know, I like a distance from my parents. We don't have the type of relationship where we share all kinds of our lives with each other. Like, I don't hardly know anything about their lives, and it makes it hard for me to really like share with them, because I'm like, I don't really like one-sided relationships with just me opening about stuff and then them just being like, no, you know, I'm not going to tell you anything. And I'm not really into that. And so I try to have experiences with them, so we kind of have stuff in common. But the only thing we really have in common is like sitting around the house eating. If it wasn't for that, you know, and then people that we know from church, like family, friends and stuff. I still know the people, but, you know, my dad sees them because he goes to church. He's going to be going to church since he's here now for I don't know how long, but he'll be around for a bit, and then he'll be out the door and gone for a long time. It's fine, whatever. I don't really care. That's how my parents choose to live. They're adults. I'm kind of over the place in my life where I'm like, let's form a deep attached relationship. I'm like, dude, I'm used to having so much distance from these people that I'm not even trying to like fake it. I'm like, dude, we don't know each other that good. We don't communicate very good. I'm not gonna try and make it worse, but I'm not gonna try hard to like make up for lost time, if that makes sense. I'm like, time is gone. That time has passed. You know, if people wanted to get to know me on that level about certain stuff about back in the past, you missed it, you know? Like, it's come and gone, you know. I'm who I am now, you know. I'm not gonna like dig up stuff, you know. I'm more like, okay, this is where we are at now. They're old, they should be retiring, like whatever the fuck, like I don't really care. Like, I'm just kind of like, I just want to get my own things situated, and I'm not really too worried about what they are choosing to do with their time and energy. They seem like they've got decent enough health. Nobody's in the hospital. Nobody's on any kind of like machinery to like help them stay alive or anything. So I'll take it, you know. I'm like, they're in good enough health that they can walk and talk and work and do what they need to do. You know, and they're loving, you know, they care. I don't really need much more than that. I'm just like, whatever. Like, I sound so ungrateful. I know I do, but I'm not. I'm just, you know, sometimes it's just like, I just don't want to be dealing with certain people or certain situations, and it's kind of like, there's some stuff with them that I kind of notice and I see a lot that I'm just like, well, you guys are choosing to live like this, you know, and I am not. And so it's kind of hard to live in a household where it's like, My values around exercise are different. My values around what I eat are different. My values around, how I speak to people are different. My values around, like, how I connect to people are different. They are on their own other planet with all these other things. I mean, we all can influence each other, but again, I'm trying not to let any of it drag me down. I'm like, y'all do what you got to do over there. I don't really want anybody, like, trying to, like, drag me into their BS or into the toxic stuff or into the unhealthy stuff. I'm like, I worked hard on myself since September. I've been through a lot of BS since about April of last year. We've come pretty much full swing all the way through since the end of last snowboard season in 2022, all the way now to 2023 when snowboard season's ending this month sometime soon, a couple weeks. Around Coachella weekend, that's around when snowboarding season's ending. I thought it would push till May, but no, it's only going to end. It's going to end April 23 or something like that. So I'm seeing if I can land a job or something. I'm going to try to go up to the mountains before my San Diego trip. But I told myself I'm not going to spend a lot of money on things. I'm not going to the mountains. I'm not getting my Pride tickets. I'm not getting any more concert tickets till I get a job. That might not be true for the concert tickets. I might dish out for another set of concert tickets. I don't really care. I don't know. I don't know yet. I don't know. But yeah. I'm not ungrateful, but I'm particular, and I'm trying to stay protective of myself. The efforts I've put in, I'm like, if I did all this and, left behind a bunch of stuff that was stressful for me, being out of my safety zone of my friendships and the people who I have, like, deeper relationships with and who actually, like, get me and, like, we talk to each other on a regular basis about stuff that's more than just, like, the garden and freaking, like, hobbies and stuff. Like, we kind of actually have, like, a connection. And I think that's how it's supposed to be. Like, I don't think people need to be, like, best friends with their parents, I mean, if you want to be, that's cool, do that. But, I come from a culture where that's not really how it works. It's like they're the parents and I'm the kid, we have different roles. We're not hanging out with each other necessarily like that. Like, we can go do stuff, but, we have our space. Like, I don't know if I've explained this, but, like, in some African cultures, especially the one I'm from, like, when you even go meet with other family members, there's always, like, say, like, a graduation. Say somebody graduates from college or university or something, and a lot of different family members are invited. There's going to be, like, my age people that, we all have parents that are, like, my parents' age, and then maybe some people my age have children. We don't all hang out together. We don't. That's not, like, a thing. Like, usually the people who are, like, older will either take over the living room or dining room or kitchen or something. And if you see them there, you don't come into that conversation. Like, these are the elders, they're here. They have their own time to catch up. I go find the people that are my age. If I can't find the people that are my age, I'm hanging out with the kids. Like, you don't hang out with, like, the elders. They do their own thing. They need their space. You go and you hang out with the people your age. So I've got, like, 100 zillion cousins or all of their friends or whatever. I hang out with them. Men, women, it doesn't really matter too much. Usually I'd probably be hanging out with women cousins. But usually it's like the guy cousins are fine too, because your cousins are like your siblings. So you don't really differentiate that too much. Like, and then all the elders are like your parents. So your aunts and uncles are like your parents, and your cousins are like your siblings. So you kind of have this relationship with them, and they look out for you. And I'm of the youngest group of my cousins, because my dad's one of the youngest on his side of the family. And so, you know, when it's mostly my dad's side of the family, we all kind of, I just find people that look my age, or maybe someone who's maybe like a parent, because nowadays, like, they're mostly parents. Usually the people who are like teens, they'll hang out with each other. Teens, and then like younger than teens. But usually it's like people who have hit puberty kind of hang out together. People who are younger than hit puberty hang out together. And people who are like in their 20s, 30s, 40s, you know, usually it's like college age people, people who graduated college, people who are working or newly have like young children. Those are the groups that are going to be kind of hanging out together. But yeah, if you're like a teen, and if there's like 2 or 3 teens and like 20 people my age, the 2 or 3 teens aren't going to be hanging out with the people in their 30s. The 2 or 3 teens are going to go hang out with the children. So it's kind of like very hierarchical. Like, you don't really like step into other spaces unless it's like, oh, I'm going to the restroom, or oh, I'm going to the fridge to get water, or whatever. Like, they have their own conversations. And so I kind of grew up like that. Like, you kind of like know, like, you know, you can come in the room to like get something or whatever, but I'm not just going to sit there in a conversation with my parents talking to my aunts and uncles. They want to talk about what they want to talk about. And I mean, if I'm the only one there my age, I'm allowed to like hang out with them. But if there's other people my age, I go find the people that are my age, and we all like mingle and socialize and have our own conversations. Usually it's just like dance parties. Like, usually my age range, we just throw on some Kwaito music or whatever, like oldies, like 90s, or some Digong or some other kinds of music, and throw that kind of stuff on. There's newer stuff too, and you just throw that kind of music on. Usually it's like culturally that kind of music, and it's kind of like some kind of like African house music, like kind of hip hop style stuff, and you just kind of sit around, listen to music, dance, eat. Maybe if there's drinks, you might drink, and you just kind of do your own thing. And if there's food, sometimes we will all eat together. Usually you'll take your food and you'll go to the other place. So usually we're in like basements or garages or somebody's bedroom, or like, you know, or like if there's siblings, like a set of the siblings' bedrooms, or like outside in the driveway or out in the backyard. Like, we're away, we're in like another space. Like, they don't want to see us, they don't want to hear us. Like, they're with their friends and we're with ours, and that's kind of how it is. And so you kind of don't really get to know the other people of the other age ranges. It's just not normal. Like, you don't normally just like hang out like that. Now, it's not like wrong or illegal, but it's just like an unspoken thing. Like, you just kind of need to be around your own people, your own age ranges, and you socialize that way. You talk about your own stuff. You get to know one another. You know, that's how you find out who the fuck is related to you and who's not, because then you're never going to like date somebody if you don't even know who's the relatives. Like, you kind of figure out, all right, this is a relative, this is a relative, this is a relative, this is a relative. These 5 people are not related to me in any way, shape, or form. And so it's like, now I know, you know, like, but otherwise it's like when you don't talk to each other, you don't really know who's, like, is this like your cousin? Like, it might be one of my cousins from my mom's side. Like, nobody knows. Like, so, you know, like, I don't know how I got onto that rant, but basically, just culturally, we just don't do the whole, like, friendly parent thing. And I think a lot of cultures are like that, but I'm not trying to sound, like, ungrateful or, like, my parents are, like, hateful people. It's just, they're another generation, they're from another world. So it's like, I gotta respect that. But we're not always gonna, like, see eye to eye. I try not to get to the point where we're butting heads, you know. I've opted out from that let's butt heads thing. If they want to disagree with me or treat my ideas and opinions and lifestyle as, like, less valuable than theirs, they can think what they want to think, but I'm still gonna do what I want to do. So that's just kind of how it is. But it's kind of like you just do it without them knowing. And that's the part that's kind of, you know, challenging, is because I'm living in the same house with these people. So it's like, for me to be like recording like gay ass podcasts and then like smoking pot and like, wanting to go out for drinks with my friends or like partying and going to raves and all this other kind of stuff, it's like I can't really just like it's not like something you openly do in front of your parents. Like, oh yeah, I just came back from a rave, I'm a little bit tipsy. Like that's that's not really how it goes. I mean, if I go to church or go to work or go to school or something appropriate to talk about, we can speak about that. But it's like, it's almost at a point where I can't like talk to them about anything I do because I don't do anything that we can talk about. Other than going to the gym or get groceries or, if I see friends that they know, I can be like, oh, I saw this person, we went to the mall today or whatever, like whatever the fuck. But, yeah, today I woke up, had my coffee. That was close to like 8:30. It took me forever to get my day started. I was online late at night, fangirling hardcore over Lexi Peters content. I just was, goodness. I don't want to get into talking about it because I probably won't be able to stop. Check her stuff out. She's got a lot of free stuff on OnlyFans, so if you're old enough to do that, shout out, man. That's all I can say. Like, damn. And then, yeah, that kept me up late at night, and then I didn't sleep good, and then I woke up, and I was like, I don't want to deal with trying to record when, like, they're trying to, like, talk to me and all this stuff, or, like, my mom's, like, in the living room, and, like, whatever. And then, yeah, I didn't really do much today. I was online a lot. I spent a lot of time on Instagram screwing around with my friends. I spent a lot of time texting my friends, just going back and forth about some dumb shit. I was in this really deep conversation with a close friend of mine about some relationship-related things that I said I will talk about in a while, so I'll get into that. But yeah. Alright, guys. I'm going to cut this one. I'm going to try and keep them a little bit short. I'm just going to record the next one right away. I'll post that one around midnight, so it's not all showing up on the same days. Because it's kind of hard to track analytics when I post the same day because I can't tell how many people are listening to one thing because it doesn't separate how many are separate listeners. It just tells you just like a flat number. Alright. Thanks for listening.